please hear me?
Okay, welcome back. Before I do like the actual introduction of our next speaker, I'm just gonna do like a quick aside introduction because Tomayia is like somebody I personally look up to as like a role model of like a really good example of what it means to be a steward of community. And I had the chance to sit down and do an interview with her at WPPI. And what was really cool is that we had this riveting conversation about community. And then that very night, I got to see that in action at like a kickback party that she was hosting, which happened to be one of the best parties I've ever attended. And this thing kept happening where it was time for us to leave, and then I would disappear, and then Elise and Chris would have to like run around and try to find me. And I'm like, but there's magic going on, and there's like dancing, and this is the best. So thank you for letting me share the story. Um, are you afraid to raise your prices, but you're not making ends meet? Are you worried that you'll lose clients because they think you're overpriced? Join photographer and educator Dr. Tomayia Colvin as she talks you through how much it costs to actually run your business. In this class, Tomayia will instruct us on how to conquer your fear of charging what you're worth and figuring out what your business costs are and what you need to make a profit. Dr. Tomayia Colvin is a nationally published high school seniors portrait photographer, best-selling children's book author, classroom teacher, and photographer educator in Houston, Texas. She works tirelessly to ensure that the photography industry is a safe and inclusive space for all photographers. Her talk is entitled Pricing for Profit. Tomayia, over to you.
Hey there, how are you all today?
I'm doing good.
Yay! Okay, so can you see me? Because I can't see you.
You can't see me, but you don't need to see me, and I can see you, and those earrings are looking great.
And thank you. I love your shirt today. You're
Thank
looking so
you.
cute
Oh,
too.
stop.
Yeah, I saw you. I saw you looking cute. All right. So today, you all, I am going to chat with you all about pricing for profit, and I'm going to share my screen here with you all. Hold on. Let me hit present. Let's see here. Well, I would like to hit present. All right. Okay, tell me if you can see my slides. And if you can't, that's fine too.
Can see them. We can't.
Oh, okay, hold on. Let me do it again. I'm going to show you my entire screen, and I'm going to pray nothing inappropriate pops up.
Yeah, everything's good now. You're ready to
Okay,
rock and roll.
all right. So I'm going to leave it here just for safety, just to make sure that you all stay on the screen with me. Normally I would hit present, but just for safety for today, I'm going to leave it just like this. All right, so today I'm going to chat with you all about pricing for profit. As previously discussed, I am Dr. Tomayia Colvin. I am the mama to Grace and Ivory, and if you follow me online, the dog that never left our house because my kids seem to bring things home that don't leave. I have a 10-year experience as an educator, like as a high school, middle school teacher, community leader and advocate, and host of the Photo Cookout. I am also a high school senior photographer, and the Image Salon edits every single photo that I take because editing is not my jam. I prefer to hang out with my kids. All right. So, one of the things that I want to chat with you all today about is that if you fail to plan, you are planning to fail. And that quote is from Benjamin Franklin. I know one of the things that as creatives, we don't like to necessarily plan a lot. Like I'm one of those people, like I like to go, look at this thing, like to like go with the flow. But one of the things when it comes to our finances, we have to have a plan. Like we can't just like free fall and well, I wanted to go buy a new Sony camera today, so but I had to like get my own self together and check myself and say, Tomayia, you can't go do that. You have to check and see if there was a plan for that. So I still have to remember, like, okay, I have to make a plan for my financial goals. And if you're like me, you like new gear, you like vacations, I like salads from Whataburger every day. So if you like those things, that's great, but you have to have a plan in place for your business, right? And so let's be honest here and let's talk about what would happen if you actually charge your worth. Okay. So I know sometimes we think that, people won't like us or our clients won't like us anymore if we don't charge what we're supposed to charge. There's this misconception that we have to be the cheapest in our area in order for people to book us. And that's far from the truth. I think as long as we are communicating our value to our clients, I think that we'll be okay, right? And so for you, what would happen if you actually charged your worth? And I know I see a lot of times in Facebook groups where people are like, oh, I have to go ask my spouse to do something, right? Like I have to go ask my spouse for gear. And I'm thinking to myself, that's probably why I'm not married, because I'm not going to ask anybody besides my CPA if I can go make a purchase, right? And so I want you to consider that if you are a photographer and you want to go full time, or even if you wanted to like go for a vacation, you want to be taken seriously as a business owner, or you want to like increase your self worth, then those are the things that can happen if you actually start to charge your worth, right? And I know sometimes, like during the quarantine, I know a lot of you all are having Amazon boxes come to your house every day. I'm not going to judge you about that, but I do want you to consider how much you are spending and be honest with yourself if that is a purchase that you need to make like immediately, or if that's something that you can maybe wait a bit about, right? So like for me, I wanted to go and buy the new Sony camera today, but I was like whoa, I had it almost to my checking account, to my checkout screen, and I was like, whoa, wait, hold on a second, let's think about this, right? So I had to think and say, okay, if I want to do the financial goals that I want to make, wait, let's make some plans. Let's see what can happen, right? And so a lot of people are pissy with their spouses because they're like, oh, well, I see you doing all this photography, but I don't see you contributing to your household at all, to the household. All I see is money coming out of the personal account. You don't have a business account set up. Your spouse is pissed off at you. And so in order for you to really, say, okay, you know what, I have a real business. And I am valuable. I am making a contribution to this household. Then if you do those things, you set your prices right, you can buy whatever the hell you want to buy. Okay. All right. So step one. So what's your cost of doing business, right? So I see this all the time. People are like, oh, it only cost me like $20 a month because I only pay for Adobe to run my business. And that's a lie. Like, no, it's not. Because I've been seeing your Amazon and your B&H and all of those checkout spaces that you've been going to, and you spend way more than $20 a month in your photography business. Okay. So some of the things that you need to consider. One, your camera, your lenses, your lighting equipment, your props, operational expenses. Like for me, I have to put into my cost that I am going to outsource all of my images. That is the first thing I put in my cost because I told you I'm not doing that. Okay. So you think about all of those things that it costs to run your business, right? Then you think about, okay, how much do you want to make per year? What do you want to make? And then that question is really personal to everyone. And so if I'm in a room of 50 people, what everyone needs to make, every single person will be different because we all have needs, right? So I have a teenage driver. Listen, that car insurance price is ridiculous, okay? So if you don't have a teenage driver, bless your heart and your insurance, right? But I have that, and I have 2 kids in braces. What I need to make per year is going to be completely different than someone who has like 2 incomes in the household, right? So right, for me, it's just me and the 2 kids and that dog. And so for that, what I need to make sure that my kids are taken care of is way different from someone else who, say, for instance, has a spouse, right? So you got to figure out, okay, like how much do I want to make? How much do I want to make comfortably, right? And then what do I want to do? And so this is the part where it gets really tricky for people, wondering like how much do you need to make? And I highly consider if you are a Dave Ramsey person, like I hated that I was almost about to curse. Oops. I hated Dave Ramsey because I was like, man, listen, I am the free spirit in the house. Like I like to do everything, okay? And so there is a nerd part, and it's good that you have friends that are nerds in the financial sense that they keep you grounded, like the CPA, right? So it's like, okay, how much do I need to make? And let's be honest, right? So if you don't follow Dave Ramsey, if you don't have like the Mint app or different things like that, where you have your household budget set, then that's the first thing I'm going to ask for you to do. So first, have a real conversation. I know you don't want to look at the numbers. I know that already. However, I can't move you to making what you want to make unless you are completely honest with yourself about excuse me, how much you need to make in order for you to sustain your living. And I'm not just talking about just enough to like make ends meet. I'm talking about enough to make where if the damn coronavirus stays for another 3 months, then you can say, okay, it's gonna be tight, but I'll be okay, right? So you have to think about, okay, what are the goals that I want to make? How much is it going to take for me to really, really, really honestly make it, right? Okay, so I made some dummy numbers here, and they are going to add up to $100,000 for the sake of the easiness of this spreadsheet right here. Okay, so first thing you have to figure out is how much is going to take in order for you to do business, and that's your expenses. And then a rainy day fund. Okay, and then again, these are estimates, guys. Okay, so don't send a text message or email. Tomayia, those numbers were wrong. Okay, so let's be honest. I just told you that these are sample numbers. Okay, all right. So savings of 4,000, retirement fund of 6,000. Owner's profit, your salary of 68,000. So I was like, okay, well, how much would it take how much would I be making if I were still in the classroom, right? So it'd probably be somewhere between 55, 65,000 or so if I added in like the tutoring and the extracurricular activity sponsorship and stuff. And then how much your estimated taxes. Again, that number is going to vary from person to person. Remember that I made all of these numbers up to make $100,000, okay? All right, so this is like, okay, cool. I need to make $100,000. All right, so I want you right now to take a screenshot with your phone of this slide, because I want for you, when I'm finished in the next 8 minutes or so, I want for you to sit down and be honest with yourself about how much you need to make. Okay, so you write all of that down. So take a screenshot. Okay, now remember, your numbers are not going to be like this straight up $100,000. It may be a little bit different, right? And it's totally okay. All right, now the next part that you need to move to is how much do you need to charge, right? Because people say all day long, like, oh, you need to charge your worth. You need to charge your worth. What the hell is that, right? So how much do I really need to charge in order for me to move forward and for me to be able to provide for my kids, okay? So again, I want you to remember with me that in the previous slide over there, I made the numbers up to $100,000. My income goal for the year was $100,000. Keep your phone by you because you will have to take some screenshots here in just a minute so that you won't forget to do your homework. Okay, so I need to make $100,000 per year in order for me to live. Cool. I can do that. Okay, maybe rough, but I can do it. Okay, so I'm going to take how much I need to make, and I'm going to divide that by 12 months of the year. Remember, it's 12 months of the year. Super simple here. So my income goal per month is going to be $8,333. Okay, that's how much I am going to have to make. It doesn't matter if you photograph births, weddings, high school seniors, whatever you do in your business, at the end of the month, you have to roll out with $8,333. Point blank. That doesn't matter if you don't have any clients. That means you may have to go do Instacart. That may means you have to go get a part-time job. Okay. Don't be afraid to say, oh, I gotta go get a job. Listen, honey, as long as you make $8,333 a month, it doesn't matter how you get there. It's making sure that at the end of the day that you are able to take care of your house. Okay. So remember I told you you had to have your phone. So this is a slide that I want you to take a picture of. Take a picture of this slide. And I want you to write down at that on the top line how much you want to make per year. And go be bold. Like, live your best life on this line. Okay? Don't just be like, oh, well, I'm just going to do just a little bit. No, this is the time to go big or go home. Okay? So you write down how much you want to make. And then you're going to divide that number by 12, just like I did. And then that's going to be your income goal per month. Okay. Now, when you get to that line and your line says $8,333 or more, don't be like, oh shit, that's a lot of money. I don't want to do that. No, don't do that. Get to the line and say, I'm going to make $8,333 no matter what. So don't get scared at that number, okay? I'll help you get to the $8,333 a month if that's what you need to do. But don't be afraid when you get to the line and say, oh, I've never made this before. I can't do this. I'm just going to live just a little bit. Don't do that, okay? I want you to thrive in your business and in your life, because if you go to another session pissed off at the client because you didn't charge your worth, then that's going to be your fault. And I don't want you to say, well, Tomayia told me to do that. I'm going to say, no, no, no. Tomayia told you to charge exactly how much you need to make. Okay. All right. So you have your desired monthly income. And then again, this is a point where you're going to get scared. Don't get scared. Okay. Take a picture of this slide. Okay. Now, this is going to be not so hard, but I want you to take a picture of this slide. And then I'm going to show you, don't worry, I got you covered. Okay, now, people are going to be like, okay, I can't do 833. What can I do? Cool. All right. So depending on what your life looks like is how much you're going to have to average. And remember, I said average, not make per time. Okay. So if I'm only shooting 5 times a month, then I got to walk away with at least, and hear me when I say at least, 1,666 per session, right? Because I'm not going to be over here working every weekend. That's not how my life, I don't want my life like that. No, I want to be able to hang out with my kids. I want to take us on trips. I like to go places by myself without those kids, yes, and get a break. In order for me to do that, I have to say, okay, 1,600 per session. Now, you say, okay, I don't feel comfortable making 1,600 per session. Well, that's fine. You're just gonna have to work more, okay? So you say, okay, well, I'll just do 8 sessions, and that's fine. So at the minimum, you have to walk away with $1,000 per client, okay? And then you're gonna say, oh, that's still too much. That's still too much. Okay, fine. Fine. You work more than that then. Okay, so then you are going to do 10 sessions per month because you're too afraid to charge this amount of money. Or you say, oh, if I raise my prices, nobody would like me. My clients are not going to pay that. Okay, fine. So then that means you work double, okay? And you make $833 per session. And then if you're still sitting over there and you're like, I don't want to charge $833. Okay, fine. Fine. You want to work 20 times a month? Listen, you're going to be burned out. But if that's your life, listen, who am I to tell you to do something different? Okay? So you'll be over here I'm going to work 20 times a month, and maybe you'll average 400 per session. Okay? Now, I would hope in your life that you would say, okay, I'm not going to be over here in the 20. I'm going to be over here in the 10. Or maybe I'm going to be over here in the 8. or I'm going to be over here in the 5. Okay. So when you're over here in the 10 and the 20, I want you to consider the fact that when you're gone that much away from home, you may get burnt out. You may not see your kids that much. Your partner may hate your job, or you may even hate the people that you're photographing, right? And so in order for you to not do that, I'm going to encourage you to at least raise your session price per wedding or per portrait session, so that you don't have to like be stressed out and be in a situation where you hate your job. Okay. Now, I made it very simple for you because I know some of us are not math geniuses, right? So I made a free calculator for you. And the only thing you have to do is go to this website, take a picture of the screen again so you won't forget. And as long as you put a number in each box, remember, because if you don't put at least a 0, it's going to come back like, I don't know what you're talking about. Okay. So
Tamaya, I have to hop in there quick, just because we got like a lot of good questions to ask, and we want to make sure we
okay.
got some time for the Q&A. So if you can just like a minute or two to wrap
Yeah,
up.
I'm done after this one.
Awesome, thank you.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And so as long as you put in your numbers at 0, then I've made it for you where the numbers will pop back on the screen for you. And see, my timer is going off. All righty, go ahead. I'm here.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, this is such an important topic that I think as creatives we just overlook. So we got a few people wanting to know what's your average income from a session.
So it depends. So normally on a senior portrait session, it's normally about 28 to 3,600.
Nice. And with another question is with lessons learned the hard way in the COVID crisis,
Uh-huh.
would your calculations include an emergency fund?
Absolutely. Yeah. And so that's one of the things that like I had the conversation with my friends that, and if you go back to the previous slide, that it does say savings on that. And so depending on how much you're contributing to your household or how much you actually need, let's say per month, and that's why I recommended like looking at Dave Ramsey as well, making sure that you have some type of cushion there in case like the world shuts down like out of the blue.
Nice. And that person just wants you to expand on. So for that price you gave, what kind of sessions are you shooting exactly?
So I am shooting high school senior portrait sessions, and so and I'll be honest with you, so it's 350 just for me to show up to the session, and that includes no digital files. That's just for my cute self to show up, okay? And that covers my cost of doing business. And then after that, that is when they can actually build their own collection with me, and it goes anywhere, like I said, up to like 3,600.
Nice. And another question is, what exactly does this mean as far as profit margin for products sold?
So that again is that's a personal question from person to person. I recommend at least 8 to 10 times on the markup. You will read online that some people say 3 and some people say 5. So that is going to determine again, like how much you need to walk away with at the end of the day.
Nice. And I think we have time for one more question.
Okay.
Um, what what is like a business expense or an expense that most photographers overlook?
Um, I would say for me, it's kind of like sometimes like the shipping, I'll forget about the shipping price that I have to like mail to ship products. The insurance is something that people forget to add in, because it's billed for the most part sometimes like quarterly, so you'll kind of forget about that.
Nice. Perfect. Yeah. Thank you for taking the time. Weirdly, talking about like money is one of my favorite topics, and especially when it's just like done in such like an open, honest way, because it does seem to be one of those subjects that is a little bit taboo. But yeah, thank you for joining us. Your presence is always appreciated.
Oh, thank you. And
Yeah.
if they have questions, I'm in my Facebook group every single day. And I'll open up and I'll post a post, like pricing questions, so that if they have questions, they can actually go on that thread and comment if need be.
Nice. And where can they find that Facebook group?
So it's Tomayia Colvin Education, the community.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, and so I'll make sure that we put a post up, and if they have questions, I'll be there hanging out to help them on the back end. And just tell them whatever you do, not feel overwhelmed right now. Like give yourself some grace, and we're gonna fix it.
Yeah, we are. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
All right, time for another. Oh, we do have a giveaway. Hold on. I'm getting something coming in hot on the wire.